Their belief in the true and living God is what saved them. Now, here's where we are in the New Testament. Those who believe the testimony that God has given about his son are those who will be saved in the New Testament. You can't just believe that God exists. I told you this last week. What did the rappers say? I just want to thank God. And you done got up and talked about everybody's body parts and cussed folk out, talked about people's mamas, called people all out of their name, and you get your little award and you walk up to the stage and you say, I just want to thank God. Wouldn't have been able to do this without God. Which God you talking about, brother? People have learned that there's a doorway in to talk about God. People gonna clap for you if you say, I just want to thank God. Folk gonna clap for you. They gonna lift you up. But there's more than one God. There's one true and living God, the big G-O-D. But all these little G-O-Ds that the Bible declare and talk about, like the children of Israel had gotten caught up in while they was in Egypt, those are not true and living gods. They were gods that were made by man's hands. So it's important that we realize that faith is our way in. That is our avenue. That is our key to all of the blessings. And it's only through faith in God that you are going to receive a stronger walk with God. It's only through your nearness to God that you'll be able to do some things that you've never done before. You kind of worried about how you've been living. You've been trying to pray over some issues and you haven't gotten your answer yet. That's what we're talking about in the text. In verse 14, he makes his shift. Matter of fact, Mark chapter 9 tells it better than the rest of them. Mark gets real detailed with it. Mark says that Jesus was coming down off the mountaintop and he saw his disciples surrounded by the scribes. I won't go into who the scribes are, come to Bible study. He was surrounded by the scribes. And the scribes was questioning them. And so he walks up and he says, what are you all questioning my disciples about? Now remember, he just left with Peter there. He brought them down off the mountaintop. Peter wanted to stay on the mountain. Keep in mind that the work of ministry is not done on the mountaintop. Right. That's your time alone with God. Your work of ministry is done down in the valley. Right. Yeah. And that's the message that God brings forth in the text. It's good for us to sit up here with, guess what? This is a mountaintop experience in a way, because when you get in church and you got nothing but a bunch of saved folk around, you can let your guard down. You can kind of be relaxed. Taylor says it all the time. You can't act right for 2 hours on Sunday morning. You in bad shape. Anybody can put on some nice clothes, come to church, and look real Christian. You know, on Sunday morning. This is almost a mountaintop experience. And when you're in that comfortable experience around all these people that loving on each other. Hey, brother, how you doing, sister? Hugging necks, kissing cheeks, saying kind words to each other. It's easy to be a Christian. You can't be a Christian in church on Sunday morning. Good God from heaven. It's easy to be a Christian on Sunday morning. It's the rest of the week you got to deal with, because when you come off the mountaintop experience, you got to go back out into the world. You got to go into the valley. And that's what this is. I said last week that this church is really a hospital. People come in here to get healed and be delivered so that they can go out and minister to the lives of others. It's a filling station. You come in here to get gas to make your journey for another week. Hopefully for another 3 days of Bible study time. You know, but whatever it was, you come in here to get filled up so you can run on a little bit further. And Peter said, let's hang out up here. Jesus said, no, the work is in the valley. And so they go down to the valley. They go down into the valley, and when he gets there, he finds his disciples are surrounded by the scribes. And the scribes are saying stuff to him. So what are y'all talking about? Why are you around my fellas? And the man in the crowd spoke up and said, my son is epileptic. My son is what your Bible say? a lunatic. My son is sick. And I like Mark's account of it, because Mark says, Jesus asked him, he said, well, how long has he been that way? And in Mark 9, he said, since he was a little boy. He said, this demon gets into him and he throws him into the fire, tries to burn him up, throws him into the water and tries to drown him. The picture is simple, that Satan don't like you. He is out to destroy you. And once he has possessed this boy, as a boy, he's trying to take this boy's life. And he says, I'm a concerned father. I brought my boy to your disciples and asked them to heal him, and they couldn't do nothing. And so now the scribes have surrounded the disciples, mocking them, like folk are mocking us as believers today in the church. Folk mock us because we claim to be Christians, but I saw you when you cussed that person out. Wow. I saw you go beside that dude's head. And you call yourself a Christian. I asked you to help me. You couldn't help me. You know, what kind of God you serve? What kind of Christian are you? We are facing the same type of accusations. The church today is like those powerless disciples in many ways. If we do not display God and godliness in our daily walk and cares, then we are going to also be facing the mockery of the world. We ought to also have some power to do some things. When the disciples, when they could not heal them, the man tells